This is how you make my one ingredient raw sprouted buckwheat cereal. It's 100% raw, it is healthy, it is dirt cheap, and it is way easier than you might think it would be. This is probably gonna actually be a pretty short video. Did I mention gluten-free as well? Gluten-free. Okay, so it's also 42% protein and a complete protein. That's the last time I'm gonna interrupt, I promise. So here's the deal. I still crave cereal every now and then because I used to eat it a lot as a kid. A lot of kids did, which makes sense. I mean, these cereal companies, capitalism at its finest, they figured out a way to kind of hack the reward system of our brains and give us this like hyper palatable food. And on top of that, they would put it in this packaging that was super bright colored with all these goofy cartoon characters and other popular characters, and they stole our attention in the grocery aisles, right? And then of course, capitalism at its finest, they also jacked up the price like last couple of years in a row. I haven't bought cereal in a minute, but last time I looked, it was like $5 to $7, which is insane because it's supposed to be cheap. And when I make it, it's dirt cheap. So I make it, it's $1. It cost me $1 to make the same amount of cereal that you would buy in a box for like $5 to $7. And it's healthy, it's 100% raw, it's sprouted, it's 42% protein. That is actually pretty high. Let's jump into it. All you'll need to get started is just raw buckwheat groats. I use this company called Primal Harvest. I'll put links down below, I like their stuff. Then you'll need a bowl, some water, and a strainer. First up, just measure out the buckwheat groats. I recommend starting with 1 cup to 1.5 cups. Then just fill up that container with the filtered water. Now, if you want to take one extra step, you can take some apple cider vinegar and you can put that into the soak water. The reason why I do this is because apple cider vinegar has something in it called acetic acid. And that is actually going to help to break down the phytic acid that's coating the buckwheat. Which phytic acid, it's a long story, I'll make another video for another time, but that's like nature's preservative. It prevents the seed from sprouting until it's in its ideal conditions. So it helps with the sprouting process, it also helps to clean them off a little bit, and it gets rid of a little extra phytic acid, which is not exactly problematic, but you don't want too much of it. And then you're just gonna stir everything together so it's all incorporated nicely, and then you're just gonna set that on your countertop overnight. Oh yeah, I should have mentioned, start this process at night. So the next morning, we're just gonna take the buckwheat and we're gonna strain it really good. And then we're gonna do our best to try and get the soak water off of those grains. So we're just gonna give it a really, really good thorough rinse. And then once that's done, we're just gonna set it on the counter for the day. Now, while those grains are sitting on your countertop, there is some actual magic happening in real time in the background. So nature is doing what nature does. So this is turning that from a grain into a baby sprouted plant. It is now alive, right? And this is also where the protein content comes in, because you know the grain as it is like you boil the snot out of it and then you get about 13% protein by volume, which isn't bad, but it's fine. The carbohydrates that are in that grain will slowly start turning into protein over the course of 24 to 48 hours, and it can get up to as much as 42% protein by volume. That is huge. So after these have been sprouting all day, we're just gonna give them one more quick rinse off, and then we're gonna pop them into the dehydrator. Now, if you don't have a dehydrator, maybe you have a toaster oven that has a dehydrate setting, which mine does. I go for 115 degrees on the dehydrator for about 8 hours, which is super convenient because I can just leave it in there overnight. So when you wake up in the morning, all you have to worry about doing is just transferring the buckwheat into your container of choice. Everything is done. Now, because this is YouTube and I'm kind of a hippie, I just use mason jars for everything. Now, these are shelf stable for up to 1 year. You don't have to put them in the fridge, but I do. I feel like they have a little bit more crunch when they're stored in the fridge. How easy is that? I told you it was gonna be easy. Now, when it's all said and done, these are delicious, nutty, crunchy. I like to use these on top of smoothie bowls, but I mean, let's be honest, I just love pouring a bowl of cereal every now and then. And I'll just use my favorite toppings: bananas, strawberries, a little dash of cinnamon, maybe even a little bit of agave nectar if I want just that little bit of sweetness. Like, I cannot recommend this highly enough. Now, as always, it would mean the world to me if you would consider subscribing. Believe it or not, this is somewhat of a newer channel, so I've got like less than 100 subscribers. So if you want to get in early on this business, then yeah, hit that subscribe. And then of course, liking, commenting, sharing the video if you know somebody else that might get something out of this as well. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.